morning. Got my coffee here. You are tuned in October 9th. This is Coffee Chronicles with Coop. Anyway, sharing morning thoughts from the weekend, thoughts from things I've got going on in my life, and hopefully something relative to help you get through your week. Today's topic is toughness, something that I've been talking about, it seems like the last couple of weeks, but really kind of hit home this weekend. I thought, man, I still need to talk about this. So I'm going to talk about today toughness. Kind of two parts, right? There's physical toughness, there's mental toughness. And what I'm thinking about is what makes someone tougher than the other person. Because in general, I think in society, we probably have a little bit of a lack of toughness at times, from kids all the way up to adults. And I think about the people around me that are tougher than me. And I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking mentally as well. What made them that way? Is it something that they trained? Is it something that they had happen when they were raised? My belief, it's probably a combination of both. It's something that they continually work on. It's something that was ingrained to them as a young child and throughout their life, from their parents or from their coaches or from their mentors or whatever. So kind of, on my mind lately has just been how to create toughness, because I can tell you one thing right now. I talked to Kyler about this before, but one thing I really want to make sure that my kids is tough. Physically tough, right? I want them to be able to take a fall and get back up and be tough about it. I want them to, be physically tough in sports, whether that be, play through the bumps and the bruises, and, physically tough. Like if you want to talk about like strength, yes, obviously we want them to be trained in strength training. But the other part of it is, just the mental toughness side of things. And when I think about it from a kid's perspective, right? I mean, toughness to a kid could mean a lot of different things. It could mean, not getting over emotional about certain things that happen in their lives, not getting what they want or whatever. But right now in terms of sports, because I've been coaching football, I'm thinking sometimes mental toughness is just being able to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, right? I think about simple concepts, related to football, like doing your job on this play and doing what's asked of you, not necessarily being a better athlete than the person across from you, but just doing your responsibility because that's what you're supposed to do, right? I mean, you might get beat, but you can get beat on that play and still do your job, versus like going rogue or not listening and not being coachable, right? Mental toughness could also be kind of relayed back to like discipline. How disciplined you are a lot of times is your mental toughness. And I can't repeat enough how important I think it is to be developed at a younger age, because I do think it makes it a hell of a lot easier when you're an older adult to have toughness in life. And I'm just not sure. I'm going to do my best to create it for my kids, but I hope more people do things to do that. So I'm thinking, looking at my notes here, I'm just thinking, man, like what makes someone so much tougher, right? And, ultimately physically you can train it. Obviously you can train it. If you think about the physicality side of things, but mentally, I think it can also be trained. But I don't think it is easily trained. I think you have to be consciously telling yourself and talking to yourself and getting yourself through those hard things. And I think where it gets trained the best is through experience and through discomfort and through, a little bit of adversity, really. And the problem is maybe kids aren't facing enough adversity, whether that's, manufactured adversity, where you're putting them in situations that creates tough times that they need to learn to overcome, or what. But ultimately, what it comes down to really is, I have adults that are this way too. You can see sometimes in the workouts, we'll be doing workout, and when the going gets tough, they let up. And CrossFit's really, really good about this. I always tell people I can find out a lot about a person just by watching them do a hard workout. I can see by how they attack it, how they approach it, what they do when it gets hard. You can just learn a lot about a person, right, when discomfort enters the chat. So you can see who's tougher. So anyway, it's kind of what I'm thinking about is toughness, how to create it, how to nurture it in my kids. And ultimately what I want to relay with you guys is you can still work on your toughness, right? You can train it. You can talk to it's mainly that inner voice in your head, mentally when it comes down to things, because ultimately what I'm trying to teach myself and practice myself and practice and preach to my kids as they continue to get older is that there's going to be adversity in your life. There's going to be things that are tough in your life. There's going to be, physical situations where you need to be physically tough. There's going to be mental situations where you need to be tough, right? And I'm just throwing out examples like it's tough when you lose your job, right? But what are you going to do about it? It's tough raising kids, right? It could be tough going to work each day at a job maybe you don't love, right? Or it could be tough stepping away from a career to risk it all and do something you love. It could be tough watching your loved ones pass away, right, and get sick. I mean, there's so many things in life that they're just tough. And ultimately, you need to be tougher as well, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about is just continue to be tough, try to help your kids learn to be tough, create that manufactured adversity to where they can learn to overcome it. Because ultimately, at the end, I think if you can create some adverse situations and help set them up for success, that's how you can help prepare them and know that they can overcome those things physically, mentally, or whatever. I think that's one of the reasons training is so valuable, right? You basically are manufacturing stress and putting your body in a stressful situation, learning how to overcome it. I think it's one of the reasons sports are so important for kids to play is because they have adversity in sports. They need to learn how to overcome it. But again, if you think about setting someone up or creating this manufactured adversity is we need to get ourselves outside of our comfort zone and be tougher. I constantly think about this when, we got the ice bath set up at the gym and so many people, they refuse to go in it. Refuse. Why would I do that to myself? Why? And if you guys are on social media at all, right, you follow all the rage. There's so many people jumping on the ice bath wagon because they're starting to see the benefits. And one of the first benefits, and probably the most important benefit of all, is the mental hurdle you have to take to get in the ice. It's like the number one thing, right? Yeah, the ice has benefits for your muscles and your joints and all that stuff. But what it does to your brain is insane, right? Because getting yourself in a cold body of water for a very short period of time for some people is damn near impossible. They just won't do it. So anyway, have a good week. Be tougher when adverse situations happen this week for you. Get over that mental hurdle. Okay. Be tough, push through it, and have a great week. Thanks for listening.